Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this 5th edition of Mover Signum here at Dansens Elverket, Stockholm. Today we're also joined by a live audience, and my name is Björn Särfsten. I'm a dancer and choreographer, and for this afternoon I will be your guide and host because you are going to meet 5 different Sweden-based choreographers that will show different parts of their work and talk about their artistic processes. Today we will start with an excerpt of the piece Dust by the choreographer Parsons. So hello, Parsons. Welcome to Mover Signum.
Hello, Björn. Nice to be here at this electrical center point meeting.
Yes. Would you want to start with telling us a little bit about what we just got to see?
Oh, Dust, finally. It's been waiting a long time. It's a piece that just had premiere last season. 3 people, the third person, where is he, she? We don't know yet. But he, she couldn't come to this rehearsal. So it's a piece about, what is it about? Well, I guess it asks the question. Who are these people with round things on their head? Where are they going? Where do they come from? Maybe it's a different reality, seeing it in different ways.
It sounds like a quite magical space, and I've also heard that you work a lot with like sensation or the sensorical. Do you want to?
Yes, very much so. Nice to hear that you saw what I see as well. The magical tale is always working with me. And I was going to add, what you don't see. What is that? Is it a feeling? Is it a story that we're creating together? What is it? So I think that's where we've been developing the piece.
Right. Yeah, because you told me previously to this also that you work with a state where everything should be possible. Is that part of this opening up the questions?
Definitely.
Maybe?
Wouldn't that be nice if everything was possible?
I would like it, yes.
So you're saying such nice things. It really moves me. It's all sorts. It fits well in how I like to work. I like to work where everything is possible, and yes is the get-go.
Right. Super. And we will actually get to see another small section of the work as well.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I didn't know.
Yeah, so let's go into that.
Great.
La Défense, Argentine, Charles de Gaulle, Toumeni, Charles de Gaulle, Toumeni, Champs-Élysées, Concorde, Tuileries, Palais Royal, Louvre, Champs-Élysées, Châtelet, Champs-Élysées, Bastille, Champs-Élysées, Champs-Élysées, Champs-Élysées. Grand Boulevard, La Défense, Toumeni, Champs-Vert, Charles de Gaulle, Champs-Élysées, 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 Concorde, Champs-Élysées, Tuileries, Champs-Élysées. Champs-Élysées, 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 Charles de Gaulle, Champs-Élysées, Champs-Élysées.
Were you here from the beginning?
So thank you so much, Claire Parsons. We will now go into a short intermission, and when we come back, you will get to meet Philip Berlin. So thank you, Philip Berlin.
Thank you. And thank you to Louise Dahl and Rebecca Gudmunds Dottir.
Thank you. So tell us a little bit about what we just got to experience.
Yeah, so it is a dance danced by Louise and Rebecca, and we are now working with some choreographic material that is going to be exposed at MDT in December, 5th and 6th of December.
Right.
Yeah.
And what is the piece called?
The piece is called La Vue, and it revolves around virtuosity, or the notion of virtuosity, and also the time consumment of virtuosity, or the waste of virtuosity.
Tell us a little bit, because I know this interest of waste or abundance even of things is kind of something that comes back in your work, I think, many times. Where does this interest come from, or what is that for you?
So it comes from, it's a philosopher called Georges Bataille, and he speaks about dance and music as the ultimate way of dealing with waste, or the. So I think there's a thread in that, in general, in the works that itself. Obsession with waste, actually, as a
right.
Yeah.
And it's you also have maybe not an obsession, but you at least have also another line running through your work is this interest and relationship to Merce Cunningham.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. So this postmodern choreographer, Merce Cunningham, he launched a software program called Dance Forms in the early 90s. Together with a group of researchers from Simon Fraser University, and they did the software program where they divided the body parts into, so they Merce choreographed the legs and then the torso and then the arms, and it was
in separate parts.
Yeah, exactly. And then the dancers had to kind of deal with that and put it together and make it into an organic system. So because it can become a bit robotic in the beginning, but then you have, as a dancer, to really deal with that and make it into an organic system or movement material.
And have you worked with similar processes when you created this material that we just saw? Yeah,
so we work within that method, but totally analog, without the software program.
Right.
So we first do the legs, and then the torso, and then the arms. And sometimes, because it's so time-consuming, so sometimes we do legs and torso, and then it's like, okay, lunch, we cannot do this anymore. and then arms kind of gets like this pile of dirt laundry laying over there. Like, okay, we have to take care of that later. But yeah, so it's very time-consuming. That's yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I think also there's a connection also with this spirituality that Merce Cunningham talks about also, that dancing is a spiritual exercise, but in a physical form, or the dance technique is a way or a key to the dancer's spirit, rather than that dance technique is something that should be controlled or manifested in itself. It's just a way to the spirit.
Right, and maybe this complexity can somehow make you find the vehicle, a way through that.
Right, yeah, exactly. And I think often the mind tells us like, oh, this is too difficult, I'm not going to manage. And I think that's also something that we affirm in the studio also, in the process. Like, okay, this is too difficult, it's too complex or too advanced in relation to coordination, or like, okay, can you jump from there, kind of thing. But that's also like, then we know that we're on the right path, so to speak.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're excited for December then to see this very complex and waste kind of bursting out. Then.
Yes.
Thank you so much for taking part.
Thank you.
And we will now go into an intermission again, and next up is Lisa Janbell. Thank you, Lisa. And welcome to Mover Signum.
Thank you so much.
What was this that we just got to experience?
Yes, so I've just premiered a new piece. Let me just catch my breath.
Absolutely.
Called Devoted, and I did the piece together with composer Dicle Neva Yiktobash, and we played everything live on stage, both acoustic and electronic devices, and I used that mic in the piece, and this part was a little part in a big piece.
Right.
And then when I start moving, I did my choreographic movement practice that I have as an anchor in all my pieces that I've done. And I did it to the soundscape of a sound designer called Rayo. And Rayo composed it for my piece Sweet and Sticky, which was my latest piece before Devoted,
Right.
that I made last year. Yeah.
Yeah. And so these are two extracts from two different pieces. And I know
Exactly.
that the title, Devoted, also relates back to this practice that you talk about.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, I have this anchor, as I said, my movement practice. And it's a somatic practice and a sensorial practice. And I work a lot with repetition to get deeper into a deep listening of the body. And it's a listening to your inner self and the surroundings, the people that are around you. And when I perform, I use it a lot as well to connect to the audience that's there and to the outer space, the place where you are. So I feel it's like I tell my dancers that it's like tentacles that you put on and you listen from the skin to down to the deepest bone.
Some kind of heightened sensibility or...
Exactly, yeah.
And I know also, because you talk about in your work and when one reads text about you, you speak also a lot about this togetherness.
Yeah.
What does that mean, or where does this come from?
Yeah, I've done a lot of group pieces, and I think I've always created worlds that I would like to be in myself. And I've been really interested in ceremonial practices and inspired by it. And also, I've been clubbing a lot in my life, and especially at the techno underground subculture. And those are social dances and dance floors. And I think in my work, I use this practice of caring of the space together and use this deep listening and have it as a communication. So, to both be in contact with each other, but also letting everybody just be with their own time. But it's like this constant communication about letting them be themselves or by themselves and also being together. And as you do when you're dancing on a dance floor, you always have that caring. But I work with it really devoted and intentionally, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think you can see that in the work as well. So where are you going? You just premiered Devoted. What's happening next for you?
Yeah, so I wish to play Devoted and also Sweet and Sticky more. So I'm going to work on distribution. But I'm also going to work on coming back to myself. I've been producing a lot lately. And I feel really interested of how I can use technology, voice, and the body, and how everything can be in symbiosis, and how the body can make sounds together with different instruments. And I would like to incorporate that more in my work and research about it more.
Sounds fantastic. We're looking forward to see more of you, Lisa.
Thank you.
And thank you for coming today.
Thank you so much, Björn.
We will now go into a short intermission once again, and when we come back, you will get to meet Pontus Pettersson. So Pontus
Ja.
Pettersson.
Hej,
Hey,
tjena.
this is fun to be involved in this little practice
Yes.
together with you.
Yep.
Meanwhile, we're doing this. Could you tell me a little bit what you're working on artistically at the moment?
Yes. So what we're doing now is we're cutting out the pieces of something that will be slippers later in this choreographic installation that I'm doing called Pancore Poetics.
Right.
That I will show in Finland in Moving in November. It's a choreographic installation and performance. So you come to, it's in a museum, so you come there, it's open throughout the whole day. And yeah, you can play miniature golf, you can get some poetry read, and there will be some cat performance happening also.
Cat performance is happening.
Yes.
Sounds interesting. Please
Yeah.
tell me more.
I will. The cat practice, it's one of my works that I've been doing for a long time. I started doing it already 2012, so kind of, like when the cat hit the internet, so to say. And yeah, I've been interested in how it can be a vehicle for embodiment, for time warping, and energy, actually, I think also a lot. And this is one of the, let's say, performative practices that we use in this installation. Yeah.
So there's dancers doing this.
Yeah, it will be. It's a production of 4 local dancers in Finland, and then it will be Robert Malmborg and Escalet Romaposo and me performing in this. It's for 4 days during the festival.
Right. And I think also this work sounds like it conceptually also talks a lot about, because you are both a visual artist and you're also a choreographer.
Yeah.
How did you end up in this somehow intertwinement of the two art forms?
Yeah, I think I started dancing a bit late, but later, let's say. So I was first more interested in clothes and fashion. I was sewing a lot. This was in high school. And also I went to media high school, and so I studied photography. But then somehow I started dancing and realized, fuck, if I want to dance, I should maybe do it now, or something, like that kind of idea. But I always had this strong interest in materials, in visual feel, somehow in color, in shape. And somehow, sometimes I miss those aspects in dance. Shape, of course, form, but color, for example, and these things. So it's something that I needed to do for myself a lot. And somehow, I think also I'm interested in dance as also very much a social phenomenon. And I think because of that, I need to think on what kind of spaces conditions that. And sometimes when you're in a theater, you're very much looking at something rather than participating. And I think in a museum, there's other ways how you participate as an audience member. Even though, yes, there's performers doing their thing, and you come and maybe you pay the ticket and you're watching something. But yeah, there's a different way how you engage and how you look at things, which I find super important and interesting. And yeah, and those things kind of intermingled a lot somehow.
Right. And do you think of, when it comes to these type of materials like fabrics, or let's say things that we maybe relate more to visual arts, and choreographic material, do you work with them in similar ways, or?
Yes, sometimes. Sometimes you can really find kind of almost direct translations, or how the fabric of the clothes actually produces a movement, or how I think I also work a lot with costume and materiality and the objectness of costume sometimes, not only like what you look like as a character, but more how it feels maybe. And that can create a specific tension in the body somehow, or an energy feel maybe sometimes also. And then that gets translated into a movement or some kind of embodiment or choreographic scripture, etc.
Right. And talking about choreographic scripture, we're also going to talk about another piece of yours that you're going to show a little extract out of. Can you let us know a little bit about that?
Yes, so it's Mopa, The Last Stand, Sky. It's let's say it's a much more dancey project of mine. It was premiered at MDT here in Stockholm last year, like a year ago almost. It's the last part of a trilogy. The first part of that project I started already 2009, and that actually started as a solo. Then I did several solos for other colleagues of mine, and then that became a bigger solo, and then now it became a group piece, and now you will see a small solo that I'm dancing in that piece that I will show you.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
So thank you, Pontus Pettersson. We will now go into the last, very short intermission, and after that, Salka, Ardal, Rosengren. So thank you, Salka. Welcome to Mover Signum.
Thank you.
This was part of Lasting Figures, right? And when you create work, what do you use as a starting point?
So I think I always start from a felt sense of play and encounter. So in Trash Talk, which is a piece from 2010, it was a collaboration between me and Mikko Hyvönen. It very much started from a curiosity of performing. So this thing that we do of putting yourself on stage, invite an audience to come and watch you, and what happens in that space. That piece very much worked with the idea of an after-talk show, but it was the starting point really was this feeling that something is at stake and co-created in this relationship. And in Lasting Figures, my latest piece that I performed with Louis Dahl and Jade Stenhus and Marcus Doverud, started also from this sense of play and encounter. It started from my sensations I found while dancing, especially social dances like Lindy Hop and slow drag, and not only the dances but also the social event around it, dancing with a lot of amateurs, or dancing with amateurs, and that kind of connection or awkwardness, and many things. That borders also and kind of boundaries and negotiating that and different histories. And so I wanted to make something with those feelings, something more, and I wanted to make a piece starting from that dancing perspective.
Right. And you mentioned several times here like history and tradition of various different kinds. How do they come into play in your work?
So in Lasting Figures, I really felt how questions of history and tradition, I felt them very explicitly. And in dancing Lindy Hop, I feel how different histories and traditions have come together, they cross, and how they move. And in the piece, we work with Lindy Hop, vernacular jazz, slow drag, so African-American social dance traditions, and the Swedish tradition of Lindy Hop, and dansbana, and fäbodkultur, herding culture, and my own dance history and education, so which is ballet and so-called contemporary dance education, very informed by the Judson Church and release technique. And I think all of these traditions hold ways of coming together, of living, and expressions. So when I started dancing Lindy Hop, I really just followed the kind of interest and the passion Like I really had this huge crush on Lindy Hop and this dance form, and I think that came from dancing to music and being in rhythm with someone and feeling pulse and bounce and moving my feet and the rising energy from that. Yeah, so I think working with those traditions really made me see my own history and encounter my norms and what I've been taught, what I've been exposed to or not exposed to, what has been assimilated or not, and what has been valued. So for me, history really means making sense and also no sense. And it means ways that people have shared how they live. It means more practices that people have been forging and passed on to live well differently.
Right. And many of those traditions and histories are also within this realm of dancing together or dancing with someone. And what is that for you? What does that do?
I think dancing, so in the couple dancing, like there's something about having this structure and the form. You either lead or follow, so there's a division of roles that creates this separation. And I think it allows me to really feel myself at the same time surrendering to my partner. And yeah, or not, like, and how do you negotiate those boundaries? I think I learned a lot about consent.
Right.
And I think when it's good, I think there's really a sense of feeling each other's essence and tending to that and listening to that. And I find that, beautiful.
Right. Yeah, me too. So thank you so much for coming here today and sharing your work.
Thank you.
And thank you as well, everyone that came to watch, both live and on the camera. Mover Signum will continue in 2025. And if you would like to know more about the choreographers that presented their work today, you can just check out Dansens' webpage and the segment Movers Signum, and you can find also their contact info. So thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.